Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the price spiral in internet computer, as many believe that we are now in a downward trend and potentially not going to recover. Because if you do look at the zoomed out chart of the entire price action of internet computer, we are continually moving lower and lower and lower. And meanwhile, all the technology that we see being developed and being deployed on the internet computers network seems to be really advanced and probably the best in the industry for AI compute and AI capabilities on a global decentralized type of network. But we're not seeing the price move. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing some of the concerns and reasons why the price is not moving, and also understand, is this a good investment for our portfolios? Nothing is that we're going to be discussing as financial advice. These are just my opinions, my thesis on where the market is, where the market's going, and obviously I could be wrong. So make sure you guys do your own research, and do me a favor, give this video a free thumbs up. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed. That way you never miss a new video. We upload every single day to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. Sometimes we talk about individual crypto projects or stocks like we're doing today, have a little bit more of a deep dive. And sometimes we talk about the macro environment and really kind of what's going on in the global economy and how this is going to affect different markets in the world. So join the channel by clicking subscribe, give the video a thumbs up to help with the algorithm, and let's get right into the internet computer price spiral. Now, one of the internet computer, I would say maximalists, Fabio here, posted this saying internet computer is heavily over leveraged at the moment. Now, I don't necessarily believe that we're seeing over leverage in internet computer. I just think that there's kind of a consolidation period, and in the wider ecosystem of crypto, that we are potentially at the end stages of the bull market. And again, most altcoins, including internet computer, did do well from 2023 into 2024. You guys can see that right here. We went from about $3 all the way up to about $20. And since then, we've been coming down. And this kind of chart right here from 2023 into where we are today at the end of 2025, this clearly looks like the end stages of the bull market, right? You have that first peak, then the second peak, that's the ultimate top in the market, right? A big correction, and then a test of the previous peak again, which we did not hit, and then lower lows and lower highs. And we're in consolidation range. But what happens next is really unknown. And so we have to really make a decision. Is this something that we hold or not hold? And we're going to be talking about some of the metrics here. But I first want to start with this. Dow King on X posted, internet computer holders say, I'm here for the tech, bro. ADA holders say, no, seriously, the tech is why I'm here. Bitcoin holders say, digital gold, protect your wealth. ETH holder said, I don't know, Tom Lee said to buy. Solana holders say, ETH is a grandpa tech, cope. And the pump holders say, LMAO, I'm literally here for the pump, that's it. Who's telling the truth? Well, it's the pump holders, because at the end of the day, we're starting to see this conversation within the social sentiment in internet computer ecosystem of saying, oh, don't worry about the price. Oh, we don't want to talk about the price. It's like, no. We do want to talk about the price. That's why we're investing in an individual asset, because we expect that the price is going to go up with the technology and that there's going to be little to no manipulation in the markets. I mean, we saw this in the last cycle where the price was heavily manipulated. And that's why we went from here down to here. By FTX and Alameda, and those kind of highly leveraged perpetual trading in these derivative markets really negatively affected the internet computer price. But now, with all of the decentralized AI stuff and caffeine being, I mean, really, that was the test for me, right? Dfinity launched the large language model that can code and write onto the internet computer called Caffeine AI in June, then did another launch in July. Now we're basically in the end of 2025. And I think that the hype from that has died down so significantly, and we really didn't see any price movement. I mean, in fact, we saw the price just sideways trade through the whole caffeine release, which this should have been the major thing for internet computer. Now, there is something to say about the fact that, the AI narrative in the mainstream with stocks and OpenAI and XAI and Google AI, it is still in the very early stages, right? And a lot of the AI narrative in the traditional markets, there's really no pumping either. But when there is an AI pump in traditional markets, I would highly expect internet computer to follow that trend. Now, we're not there just yet, but when we get there, if we do see internet computer not performing, this conversation about the spiral in the price may actually be true. But I want to remind you guys, before we get to these other tweets, one of the things that we saw in 2021, I mean, even still to today, is people in Cardano are like, oh, well, we don't want to talk about the price. It's like, why not? Oh, we don't want to talk about that the fact that Cardano staking has decreased. We don't want to talk about the fact that we haven't hit or even gone near all-time record highs in Cardano price. Meanwhile, I'm like, no, this is something that you should be talking about. You should be talking about the fact that rewards are down to 2% and 2.5% across the board in Cardano staking. And this is not last cycle where people were getting 7 to 10%. And it's not just Cardano. A lot of the different ecosystems have this issue. But we're really starting to hear the same kind of sentiment that we hear in the Cardano ecosystem of, oh, we don't want to talk about the price. It's like, then why the F are you investing in this? Of course you want to talk about the price. And you want to make sure that the builders in the ecosystem are building to bring the value of the entire ecosystem up. Because don't get it twisted, guys. When these ecosystems are providing their coins as funding for quote unquote development of the ecosystem, those coins are then sold to fund the developers and fund the infrastructure and all of that. It's sold into fiat currency. And so this idea that you as an investor shouldn't worry about the price and the ecosystem, we're not going to talk about the price. We are above that. It's total and utter BS. And we're starting to hear that in the internet computer ecosystem. And this, for me as an investor and an analyst, is extremely concerning. Now, let's be very clear. These are my opinions. This is my analysis. You don't have to agree with it. That's totally fine. We can have different opinions on the matter. And at the end of the day, my investments are my investments and my investment thesis is my investment thesis. You can have a different investment thesis. It doesn't mean one person is wrong or right. It's just what's right or wrong for your investment strategy. And when I'm starting to hear, we don't need to talk about the price. The price is definitely not something because the technology is there. It's like, no, that's bullshit. If the technology is there, the price should reflect. We see that in Pump Fund. We see that in Solana. We see that in SUI. We see that in Ethereum. Well, maybe not Ethereum this cycle, but you guys kind of get it. We see that in all the other cryptos. So the idea that we shouldn't talk about it, it's very concerning because it's giving me Cardano vibes. And I don't think I'm ever going to hold that coin again because the ecosystem apparently doesn't care about the price and they don't care about the coin. Meanwhile, they're using the coin to go fund development that doesn't actually materialize. And then they're selling the coins on the open market and then telling you, don't worry about it. And so when I start to hear that in ICP, it's very, very, very concerning, right? But we're also seeing this. Internet computer large holder count keeps climbing. The number of addresses holding at least 1 million ICP rose again, reaching 78 wallets, a new high for this metric. A lot of people are looking at this as this is accumulation of whales and that this is a bullish sentiment. But if this was really accumulation from the whales, we would see the price moving higher. Because you have to remember, if somebody's buying, AKA these whale wallets, that means somebody's selling. And in my view, these whale wallets are absorbing the selling that is going on. Now, I don't know where the selling is coming from, whether it's coming from individual investors who are just fed up and saying, I'm done, internet computer is not moving, I'm out, or whether it's people selling their staking rewards and people selling their I don't know, and I can't say gains because there's really no gains to be had. So I would just say staking rewards or development funding that they're getting in ICP coins. And so that would be not bullish because that's similar to what we're seeing or have seen with Cardano, that once the rewards rates started dropping, we saw a lot of people unstaking their coins and getting out of the coin. And then people were saying, oh, well, the whale wallets are accumulating. It's like, yeah, they're accumulating the coins that other people are dumping. And that's not bullish. And the reason it's not bullish is because the whales that are accumulating these coins, they are accumulating because they believe that this is a lower price. And then when the price goes higher, they're going to sell to the people who are buying. And so therefore, this accumulation is just accumulating to then go dump on the market again, right? And a lot of people look at it and say, oh, well, the whales, they're so into ICP. It's like, no, they could be looking at this as a bottom opportunity, absorb all of that selling or offloading of coins that is going on. And it clearly is going on because if these wallets are getting bigger, somebody's selling. And so that makes me worried, because if we go through another period of upward trend, are these whales going to be dumping and holding the price back and effectively, whether intentionally or not, manipulating the price to keep it steady? Because again, if you look at the price over the last few months, it's been in sideways range. We can't get above this this support level to go higher, and we're not also going lower. We're just kind of ranging here. And so even if we do break out and go higher, what are these whale wallets that have been absorbing all of this liquidity going to do? They're going to take the liquidity that's on the uptrend and sell their coins. And that's why it's really important that we understand what the activity is doing. Cat Pirate, who is, I don't know whether an ICP bull or a bear or hates it or loves it, I really don't know. But anyway, they wrote on X, Dfinity has been building the most expensive website builder, and they're calling it Caffeine, as in caffeine AI. And I would agree. I've been very clear about my opinion about caffeine AI. Now, let's be clear. The technology is good, right? And the large language model that they're creating seems to be fairly good at what it does. But it's not the only one. It's not the breakthrough technology or capabilities of internet computer, because I remind you, a lot of people were under the impression that Caffeine AI was going to be running on internet computer, like the actual software would be running on the like decentralized network, but it's not. It deploys what it builds and codes onto the internet computer. So that's one kind of negative there. The other thing to keep in mind is that Caffeine AI, while it is great technology, I don't know whether Dfinity is spending too much money on building out that instead of marketing the fact that that's a proof of concept and that you can utilize large language models to build on the internet computer. And maybe, again, this is what they're building for the longer term. But in the shorter term, we're not seeing the excitement. I think there was a lot of excitement when ICP first launched Caffeine AI in the middle of 2025, but a lot of that has waned out pretty extensively. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that other large language models can do the exact same thing, maybe not specific to internet computer or maybe not as well, right? I don't know, because I haven't used all of these, and it's very hard to kind of metric what is better, what is not better, right? But the bottom line is that Caffeine AI, in my view, is not it's not like the killer app, right? And it's not even run on internet computer. If it was, maybe it would be the killer app, but right now it's not. And so what is the technology? It's a large language model, but that's not the big thing for internet computer, as I've explained on many different videos on this channel. I believe that the network that they're building to be able to compute all this AI and this decentralized node operations with specific jurisdiction to different countries, with subnets and node validators and all of this, this is I think the strength of the ICP network. And it doesn't seem like the ecosystem, the participants in the ecosystem, the developers in the ecosystem, and Dfinity are promoting what they have. And instead, they're promoting a product that's not on internet computer, that doesn't impact the price of internet computer. And I don't know. I mean, again, if you have a private company that is deploying things on the internet computer, but the private company is taking up all of the marketing and all of the excitement, where is the money actually flowing? It's not flowing to the network, and I get it. The more people who use Caffeine AI and deploy apps and dApps to the internet computer, that means more transactions, more volume on the network, and this is what increases the volume of the network, and therefore the worth, and hopefully then the price. But that's not what we're seeing. And again, there's so many large language models to compete with in the crypto world, outside the crypto world, that I don't, and by the way, there's a lot of large language models that do vibe coding. I mean, almost every single day on the finance channels, they have somebody on from an AI vibe coding large language model application that they're trying to push out. And so is this the killer app for internet computer? I personally don't think so. I think the killer or the amazing and high level structure and network itself is the selling point for internet computer. And I think that that is not being captured by the marketing or the messaging. And I think that this is a huge, huge problem. And going back to this, effectively, that is what Caffeine AI is. It's a website builder or a DApp builder, which is great. But again, you could do that without the internet computer and without the need for the internet computer. And so all of this push for this one application, for me, is like, it's not it. It's not it. And maybe they're working on stuff in the background, right? And that's totally possible. But I'm talking about what is right now and where the price is right now. Because again, as I've covered in previous videos, internet computer is down 50% since the beginning of 2025. We started 2025 at basically 2025, we started here at about $12, and now we're at $4. So that's more than 50% drop. And it's one of the only top 50 cryptos that have such a terrible price action, right? And again, I'm an investor, I'm an analyst of the investing space and of these products and how they can either make you money or not make you money. Now, there's a lot of people who say, but Cryptoviser, it's ranging, it's creating a floor. And I would probably agree, but where we are at the end of 2025 is at the end of the bull cycle for crypto, generally speaking. This doesn't mean that they're not going to pump at any point, but the liquidity is draining out, and we're seeing that here. And I don't know whether Caffeine AI was just a big distraction, as there is a lot of liquidity being drained, because very clearly somebody is absorbing all of these coins that are being sold, and that's why the whale wallets are increasing. Now, Fabio, who's a well-known ICP advocate, he wrote this on X. Fabio said 61, almost 62% of all the internet computer coins staked is now locked for 8 years. This means that 26.8% of the supply is currently locked for 8 years and may not be sold. In the last year, the amount of ICP locked for 8 years increased by 8 million, while the total supply increased by 14.5 million, which is the internet computer inflation. This means that 55% of the ICPs that are minted due to inflation mechanisms are restaked. Now, why are we seeing inflation in internet computer? Well, rewards. So if somebody's getting rewards and then they're just restaking it, is it really new investors restaking? Because in my view, most of the 8-year staking, right, the long-term staking, is developers, is insiders. And we know that these developers and insiders have been staking for the long term for quite a period of time. And so if they're extracting the rewards and just restaking it because they believe in the ecosystem and they're developing the ecosystem, that's great and all. But that doesn't tell us that we're getting new users, new entities or companies that are believing in this technology and investing in it for the longer term. And so the staking narrative, while it is obviously, good to see that 61% of all the ICP staked is staked for long periods of time, this doesn't mean actually that 61% of the network is staked. Right now, when I'm recording this video, 43% of the total supply of internet computer is staked, and then 60% of that, so about 25% of the entire internet computer supply is staked. I mean, if you look at Cardano, again, Cardano has even more staked, over 50%, almost 60% of the entire network is staked, right? And so this tells me that this is the insiders. They're very unlikely going to sell because they do believe in the network. They do believe the price is going to go up. And they extract value from other ways in the ecosystem by building dApps, by taking the rewards out, or just swing trading, like we're seeing potentially with these whale wallets that absorb at lower prices, and then it goes up, let's say 5, 10, 15%, and then they sell. Now you may say, well, 15% is not a good amount, but you're talking about whale wallets. So they're playing with a lot more money and a lot more coins than you could even imagine. And so therefore, these whale wallets, they actually control where the market goes because they can dump at any point as we're in an uptrend. And if the uptrends are getting weaker, which they are, well, they're just going to be sucking all the liquidity out. And again, we're also at the end stages of the bull cycle for the whole crypto ecosystem, generally speaking. And so I don't know. I don't know whether we're going higher or lower. And just seeing some of these things, and the fact that Dfinity really hasn't had anything else since June or since July in the Caffeine AI launch, and now they're going to launch it again and open up to the public. I don't know that this is actually going to impact anything on the network. Now I hope it does. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm still in this coin, but you know, you definitely have to look like, do I offload some? Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Again, this channel is not about what my portfolio is doing, and we don't really even talk about my portfolio, right? I just said that I still am in ICP, but I could have one ICP coin, and that's being in the coin, being in the investment. Or I could have a million coins. But it doesn't matter how many coins I'm actually holding. It really matters on what the narrative is and where this market is going and where this coin is going. But again, the more I see the price downward trending, the more I see the lack of continued enthusiasm about caffeine AI, and the conversation of, oh, let's not talk about the price. These are huge issues, because again, last cycle we were always talking about the price, right? But when I started saying, like, why is Cardano launching these products and then they're not launching anything else? Like, for instance, around this time in September of 2021, Cardano launched smart contract capabilities. Then literally nothing was launched, and for a few months. And I said at the end of 2021 on my channel, why is it that Cardano has been developing these smart contract capabilities for years, and they launch smart contract capabilities and nothing launches? So what were they working on? 1 week later, 4 DEXs launch. And then they were like, Cryptoviser, it's not because your video. I'm like, well, either way, it's 4 months after you launched smart contract capabilities and you didn't launch anything after that. And so is Caffeine AI the only thing that Internet Computer has? Because again, they launched in the middle of the year, and we're now at the end of the year, and there's nothing else. It's just Caffeine AI. And I don't even think Caffeine AI is the killer app for Internet Computer. I think it's a proof of concept for what can be built on the Internet Computer network. So where do we go from here? Like, where is the network going from a price perspective? I mean, I do think that in the long term, Internet Computer is going to do well from a building perspective, because they are, I mean, the things that they've done with building out the network and reorganizing the network in 2025, they're not doing this for nothing, right? And clearly they have funding to get things off the road. But you have to remember, Dfinity's timeline is different than your timeline, right? They're building for a decade or 2 decades or a generation, right? We're thinking about getting out of this investment with profits within 4 or 5 years, right? You don't want to hold something for 20 years just to get a double, because you could just go into any other investment and get a doubling and not wait 20 years. And so that's kind of the pickle that I'm in with analyzing Internet Computer. I'm still bullish on the technology. The technology's there. But why is the price not moving? Why do we have nothing else besides Caffeine AI? Like, there's really no other, like, wow, this is going to blow everybody away. And that's why I do think that the network itself is what Dfinity should be pushing and should be marketing and talking about more, because this is different than any other network in crypto, in blockchain, and in just real, like, technology. But they're pushing an application that doesn't even live on the Internet Computer network. So what are we doing, and where are we in the cycle, and where is the price going? And listen, I'm sure many of you agree with what I'm saying here, because at the end of the day, the price did perform, and nobody should say that Internet Computer didn't have a price movement, because they did, right? Anybody who bought after the major dip, right? Anybody who bought after, let's say, the bear market bottom, right? If you bought after this, you could have been in profit twice now, right? Once in 2023 to 2024, and then once at the end of 2024. So there's no reason that somebody should be upset with the investment. If you didn't take profits, that's on your strategy and thesis, right? I mean, we did literally a 10x from $3 to $20 or an 8x. And people were like, no, Cryptoviser, we're going higher. And I'm like, maybe we are going higher, but it's probably time to take profits. We took profits on this channel, right? We took profits at this $20 range. We bought some back when we went lower, but we've been just trending lower since. And so is the cycle over for internet computer? Are we gonna have to wait? And the issue here is typically when you're not seeing sustained price improvement, like we see with Solana, like we see with SWI, like we see with XRP, most of these coins never end up reaching their all-time record highs. Look at Litecoin from the previous cycles. Litecoin has never approached its all-time record high. This is the, where is it? I don't even see it. Let's turn off I should have just flipped it, but either way, here we go. So Litecoin right here, the all-time record high was about $300 or $400. No, this is not correct. I'm gonna have to change this, hold on. Here we go. Here's Litecoin. So, whoa, let's pull this all back. Let's pull this back. Okay, so Litecoin's all-time record high was $420. Interesting. Also 2018, 2017, $420. Then we re-hit that in 2021. And we're not even close to it, right? We've been in downtrending since then. So just because, and by the way, in the previous cycle, this was like one wick up and then it came straight back down. So it's not even surpassing its all-time record high. And so once a coin doesn't reach its all-time record high in the previous cycle, every cycle after that, it's harder and harder to reach the all-time record high. And that's what we're seeing with Litecoin. We've been through the whole 2024, 2025 cycle, and Litecoin has basically been sideways trading. And so that is what I worry about with internet computer are we going to see internet computer be able to achieve its at least recent highs of $20? It's looking less and less likely, at least in this cycle. Maybe in the next cycle we'll see that happen. Maybe if the AI narrative in the mainstream financial markets picks up, we'll start to see internet computer moving. But it's not going to be because of caffeine AI. There's no freaking way. And I think that's a big disappointment. I think caffeine AI is going to be part of the narrative for this, but it's not the big thing because it's not even running on internet computer. If they had it running on internet computer, it'd probably be a different story. So where do we go from here? Do we buy more? Do we sell? Do we just hodl? I don't know. I want to know what you guys think and what you guys are doing in your portfolios and whether you believe that we should or should not be talking about the price. Because at the end of the day, the coins that do move do talk about the price. The coins that say, no, we're not here for the price. We're just here for the technology. They never go back to their all-time record highs. Let me know what you guys think down below. Give the video a free thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll see you on the next video. Crypto on.